Welcome back for part three with Talk and Luke from Talk. We are going to be discussing river cruises. And so I'm going to turn it over to, I'm going to ask the first question, Luke, sorry. Talk has a unique way of their approach with river cruising. How would you describe it?
We operate over all major rivers in Europe. So the Danube, the Douro, the Seine, the Moselle, the Rhine. And the river dictates the size of the vessel. So, for example, when you go on the Rhine or the Danube, all the ships will be the same size and the same width. However, at Tauk, we like to separate ourselves from the rest by having the fewest amount of guests on board even though the ships are the same size. So our hardware is configured differently. We have 80% of our rooms are larger than 225 square feet. 22 cabins typically would be 300 square feet. So that's very spacious. The bathrooms are enormous. And then the suites also have walk-in closets as well, and they have a sofa bed in addition to the beds. So that could sleep two kids or two small kids or one adult. So hardware is amazing. But because we have those low numbers, so let's say you go at another company, I don't know, one that rhymes with hiking perhaps, that's going to be about 200, well, 190 passengers thereabout. But with Tauk, we have 130 max on the same size ship. That's the least amount of guests that you can find. And actually, in reality, when you have solo travelers as well, that's going to be about 110 on average. And by the way, our category one cabins, which are at the Swan View level, we do not charge a single supplement for solo travelers at any time on any departure for those. I stayed in one before, it's 180 square feet and it's very comfortable. Would I recommend it for two passengers? Not really, especially if they're new to Tauk. Do we get guests going? Couples? Yes, we do. And the reason why is because demand is quite high. And therefore, guests who just want to go on a Tauk, who know Tauk, and they always want to travel with us, well, they might go, okay, let's do a category one. But ideally, go for that suite for your couples if you can, because they really are lovely and spacious. Now, with that amount of people on board, you would think that we could reduce on staff, but we do the opposite. So we increase the number of director level staff. So typically on a river cruise tour with every company, you're going to get a cruise director, and then in each stop, you'll have local experts. Yes, we have that, but in addition, we have three tour directors on board as well. And these tour directors are the same people who are leading the land tours. They are exceptional. They are carefully selected. The training is rigorous. So when they're on board, they're providing amazing commentaries. They've unique backgrounds. Like when I did a river cruise earlier this year, I met Jilly, who I talked about in the first video, and Jilly's just this amazing, charismatic, bubbly character that becomes best friends with everybody. And Jilly was doing commentaries on board, but then when she would take us out to a destination on the motor coach, she would give commentaries about that area as well. And then we'd meet with local experts. But when the local experts were, talking to the guests, Jilly is there to be able to support and help anybody. Oh, does somebody are they a little slower because of a walking issue, or do they have a gluten-free or dairy allergy that needs to be catered to? Well, Jilly's there, or one of the three tour directors are there with each group when they're outside the ship to look after them. So that service level is exceptional. And if you walk into the lounge when there's, almost 200 people on board, you might struggle to find the seat. And when you do find the seat, you might struggle to get actually have service. But with Tauk, because there's not many people on board, you've always got somewhere nice to sit down. And as soon as you sit down, a staff member will come up and say, "Hey, what can I get you?" And for me, they quickly learned I do have a dairy allergy and I do have a gluten-free. requirement. So guests were so fast, or sorry, the staff were so fast, communicated to all of the other staff, and they say, "Oh, Luke, good morning. Can we get you an oat milk latte?" Or it's evening time, or during the day, can we get you this lovely artisanal gluten-free bread sandwich? So they really go above and beyond. And the food is exceptional on board as well. So we've two restaurants, Arthur's, which is very casual. It's at the back of the ship. Actually, it's going to be on the front of the ship and two new ships that we have coming next year. And then we have the Compass Rose, which is also at the front of the ship. And this is more of a gourmet restaurant. So you've got seven entrees to choose from at dinner. And three of them are consistent, so they're every day. So you could have filet mignon every day if you wanted. But the four of them are different. They differ, and often they're regional. So, from the markets that the areas that we're stopped in. And the maitre d' is also a sommelier, so she will come in, or he could be, depending on the cruise, and they will talk about which wines pair well with each meal. But if you didn't want to go with those wines that are paired, you could go to the 13-page wine list, and you can see our wine cellar because it's on the same level as the Compass Rose. It's a sort of a plexiglass or a glass. It's a window that you can see through hundreds of bottles of wine, and you can choose from really top shelf stuff. So that's really nice. Yeah, so I'd say that's a bit it really. The excursions are exceptional. None of them are there's no optionals, so everything's included, and you have choices. So you could have up to three choices depending on the location that you're in, and you can choose before the trip, but you can also change your mind last minute. And if you don't want to go to Chesky Krumlov, you could do something else instead.
Perfect. Okay. So how is Talk Small Ship product different from traditional ocean cruising?
Um, Traditional ocean cruising is something that we do as well. We do small ship, but I think we're on river at the moment, right?
Oh, I read. Oh, shoot. Okay. I'll cut that out. So
Maybe pause for a couple seconds just so you can edit.